Voices here sounds very clear. Savings are grand, Bahama land. Family is there, bringing good cheer. Sun, sea, and sand, they'll understand. New Providence, San Salvador, Grand Bahama, Equatorial. Where voices sit, families trust for Christmas. Where voices sit, families trust for Christmas. Call Hillary and Yankee, call Abaco and Ronki, call Nanawa and Cobra Town and Fresh Creek. Cat Island too. Call your grandma and your grandpa. They're not to hear from you this year. Where voices sit, families trust for Christmas. Where voices sit, families trust for Christmas.
Sign up for Rev Voice Bahamaland for as low as $14.99 a month with unlimited local and nationwide calling. You'll be entered to win your mortgage and utilities for a full year. Rev Voice Bahamaland.
Rev Voices here sounds very clear. Savings are grand, Bahamaland.
Gun violence hits Union Village.
The victim succumbed to his injuries at the scene.
Will public school teachers take a strike vote?
We have to stand.
The latest on government's efforts to split BEC, $3 million budgeted for the major Jonkanu parades. Plus, start your engines and get ready for Speed Week. The details of those stories and a whole lot more on the way. I'm Bonnie Toot, and NB12 starts now. Topping news tonight, yet another life on New Providence was claimed by gun violence as a man was gunned down outside a home off Wolf Road this afternoon. It marks the country's 102nd murder for the year. Christina McNeil was there as police secured the area and began their investigation into the country's latest killing.
A man shot and killed outside a Union Village home as police go on the hunt for the shooter. Police say it was around 3 p.m. when they were alerted to the shooting on Union Village Road. Superintendent Stephen Dean says an ambulance arrived on the scene, but the victim had succumbed to his injuries.
The victim, who's a male, was standing through Union Village when he was approached by a young man armed with a handgun who shot him multiple times and fled on foot. The victim succumbed to his injuries at the scene and he was pronounced dead by EMS. Police are in search of the suspect. We are early in the stage of our investigation. We are on the ground trying to determine who the suspect is.
That shooter was still at large up to airtime. Meanwhile, a pool of blood was still visible at the crime scene as police gathered as much information as they could. This as area school children passed the crime scene on their way home from school. Dean telling reporters that police will not stop until they get justice for the family of the unidentified victim. But he adds that they need help from members of the public who may have seen or heard something that can aid police in their investigation.
Members of the public know who these criminals are. They know where firearms exist. They know who are committing crimes. These criminals do not work in isolation. They have families, they have brothers, they have relatives. So we are asking to the persons out there to please come forward with the information.
4 people were murdered last week, sending the nation's murder count into the triple digits. Prime Minister Perry Christie then pledged that the government will do whatever it takes to stamp out crime and decrease the fear of crime. Today, Dean used the opportunity to put criminals and would-be criminals on alert.
We know this is the end of the year, so all the stocks are out. And we are really aggressively, we're going to take the streets and officers will be up and about as usual. So police, we are saying to the criminal element, those who are hell-bent on committing crime, the police will be there. And as the evidence, we can see by the evidence, as fast as these crimes happen, police will find you and we will bring you into custody.
Police are appealing to members of the public who may have information about this or any other crime to contact the nearest police station or Crime Stoppers at 328-TIPS. Reporting for NB12, I'm Christina McNeil.
Police also need your help locating 3 suspects in a shooting on Montgomery Avenue. According to police reports, 3 masked men riding in a red SUV opened fire on a man standing in front of his home on Sunday before speeding off. The victim was taken to hospital where he's reportedly listed in stable condition. Free National Movement leader Dr. Hubert Minnis is taking the Christie administration to task over the state of the new prosecution's office. He said an array of problems at the Nassau Street location, including a lack of space, has lowered morale among employees. Dana Smith reports.
Minnis hit out at what he called the disastrous state of the prosecution's office. He claimed inadequate space at the facility has forced some employees to work out of their cars. He also said the crowded space could hinder the efficiency of prosecutions.
The state that they're in is disastrous. There's no filing system. The files are stored in boxes all over the place. New and old are mixed, and therefore cases that come forth, they cannot find a file to present proper cases. So what would this do to our criminal system? The state that these individuals, in excess of 50 in one room, with no proper desk, no proper seating capacity, just chairs straddled all over the place. The seating capacity is so limited. Many of them are sitting outside of the building, walking throughout the yard, in their cars, etc. The morale is deteriorated.
To back up his claims, Minnis provided a series of photographs he said he took at the prosecution's office last Thursday. Seen in the photographs are several boxes of files stacked upon one another. Minnis claimed these, quote, improperly kept files could contribute to the ability of prosecutions to adequately do its job.
These files are very significant. These are active files, criminals. And 90% of cases would go through the magistrate courts. These are where these files are kept. So you're talking about 90% of files that are improperly kept.
As a potential long-term solution to the problem, Minnis called for the government to move towards digitizing prosecution files, a suggestion he noted was recommended by the Inter-American Development Bank.
We must move into a new Bahamas, where we can have digitized system, where individuals at the click of a button can review cases and speed up the criminal justice system. It's not only recommended by me, but this has also been recommended by the IDB, because files cannot move in a timely fashion from one department to another, and therefore cases are delayed and subsequently misplaced.
Officials at the prosecution's office confirmed they had been moved to their present location, but declined further comment. Reporting for MB12, I'm Dana Smith.
And hundreds of teachers gathered at BUT headquarters this afternoon to vote on whether or not they will move ahead with a threat of strike action. Bahamas Union of Teachers President Belinda Wilson said many teachers are frustrated and in their fourth week of work to rule. She added that if the majority of teachers support a strike vote today, the union would inform the Ministry of Labor and set a date for that poll. Wilson said Labor Director Robert Fackerson was out of order last week when he said any industrial action taken by public school teachers would be illegal because the trade disputes filed by the union against government have been referred to the Industrial Tribunal. For the most part, her team is demanding unfettered access to school campuses during school hours, and the union claims there are still unresolved health and safety issues at Uriah McPhee and Stephen Dillett. We will bring you the results of that vote tomorrow. In other news, as government prepares to select 2 companies to take over the Bahamas Electricity Corporation's management and power generation next year, Deputy Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis revealed today the successful bidders will likely be foreign entities. He told NB12 one Bahamian company initially expressed interest but backed out.
No Bahamian companies placed bid. I think in one instance there was a conglomerate of Bahamians who came together with a foreign company and placed bid for the management aspect of it, but they fell away at the second stage of the process.
According to Davis, 2 companies were shortlisted by KPMG Bahamas last month to take over BEC's management, and 4 are being considered to offer power generation. The minister responsible for BEC expects that list of preferred bidders to be narrowed down by mid-December. Though no Bahamian companies are on that list, he was quick to add there would have to be meaningful and significant Bahamian participation in the chosen companies.
No Bahamian companies are involved, but it would seem that each of the each of the bidders have taken on the concept of including Bahamians in equity and ownership once it is determined that they may or may not be, they may be the successful bidder.
However, Davis could not say how involved Bahamians would be in those entities, which he revealed could invest as much as $400 million. BEC's restructuring is expected to lead to lower electricity costs for consumers. Considering the harsh criticism the PLP leveled against the former government for awarding a majority share in the Bahamas Telecommunications Company to a foreign entity, we asked the Deputy Prime Minister if it was hypocritical to then sign a BEC deal with foreign companies. He dismissed that suggestion, pointing out the government is not selling BEC.
We would have learned from the errors of the past, and we hope not to commit those same errors. And we don't intend to commit those errors. We are not, in effect, selling BEC. What we are doing is we are inviting a partnership in a generation of electricity. At the end of the day, the Bahamian people will eventually own that plant once the investor would have, or the company that's creating the generation would have recouped what is their capital and a fair return on that capital.
Meantime, former Minister of State for Finance Shavargo Lang has questioned why the Christie administration has hired KPMG Bahamas to advise it on the reform of BEC, when the Progressive Liberal Party criticized the firm for its involvement in the privatization of BTC. KPMG advised the Ingram administration before it sold BTC to Cable and Wireless Communications. While in opposition, the PLP opposed the deal and at one time questioned if KPMG was in a conflict because it was one of the financial and regulatory advisors to the BTC Privatization Committee and an external auditor of CWC. A PLP MP who did not want to be named expressed displeasure that the government had engaged KPMG.